So I was scrolling through IG the other day, just minding my business, and I came across this post about Eddy from Ed, and Eddy, one of my all-time favorite cartoons, and it hit me. This dude was really one of the greatest cartoon hustlers of all time. I mean, Eddy had the blueprint. This man put me on game about hustling before I even knew what the word meant. But here's the crazy part. Everybody in the show clowned him. The other kids hated him, and even his own boys sometimes didn't see the full vision. So I had to ask, why don't we talk about Eddy as the original get to the bag legend? Yo, welcome back to the channel, House fam. It's your boy Jay, back with another one. Today we want to take a look at the greatest cartoon hustler of all time. And as always, make sure to drop a like, subscribe, and turn them alerts and notifications on for more amazing content from the House of Animation. But first, let's drop that intro. Ed, and Eddy aired on Cartoon Network from 1999 to 2009 and follows three boys, Ed, Double D, and Eddy, who spend their days dreaming up wild scams to earn money for jawbreakers. Ed is the lovable muscle, Double D is the brains, and Eddy is the loud, fast-talking, hustling leader. Each episode sees the trio launch a new scheme, often ending in a hilarious failure. Beneath the humor, the show highlights themes like friendship, ambition, and resilience through the Ed's endless hustles and tight bond. And drop a comment down below some of your favorite memories from this great ass show. But I got a few reasons why Eddy was him when it came to hustling. And low-key, he taught me some real world lessons about business, branding, and bouncing back. So let me break this joint down. Eddy was a natural born marketer. He understood the power of branding, exclusivity, and word of mouth promotion better than most kids or even adults. One of the best examples of this is in the episode Know It All Ed, where the Eds stumble upon a box of old turkey basers in a junkyard. Ed thinks they're alien probes, Double D correctly identifies them as kitchen utensils, but Eddy sees an opportunity. Like a true hustler, Eddy instantly realized that one person's trash is another person's treasure. He slaps a fresh new name on the product, Canadian squirt guns, and gives it a foreign twist to add fake prestige. This alone is genius. I mean, when I found out Canadians had their own bacon, I had to try it, even though it's basically just ham, same energy. Eddy understands that adding a little mystery or foreign flavor can raise perceived value. That's basic marketing psychology. If it sounds rare or exotic, it must be worth more. And he doesn't just stop there, he doubles down with the live action advertising. The Eds dress up as cowboys and stage a whole Wild West themed promo right in the cul-de-sac. And I'm not gonna lie, as a kid, the ad was so smooth, I kinda wanted one. Once he had the kids' attention, Eddy set up a storefront and sold out instantly, charging 50 cents a piece for repurposed kitchen tools. Even he was surprised that it worked, but it did. They ended up with a jar full of quarters while the other kids ran around living their cowboy fantasies with their new squirt guns. But Eddy doesn't stop there, he keeps the scam going. When the Canker sisters show up and ruin the fun, Eddy flips the situation again, claiming the Eds are marshals and are now charging the kids for protection. It all unravels eventually with the Cankers stealing the jar of money and the basers, and the Eds having a dramatic showdown. They lose a fight, but they never lost that original jar. And that's the point. This scam was a success. Eddy found a free item, repackaged it with clever branding, created demand through hype, and executed a sellout campaign complete with live marketing and role play. He didn't just make sales, he created an experience. That boy could sell water to a whale. One thing about Eddy, he never ran the same scam twice. That boy was always cooking up something new, and that's the heart of product development. A real entrepreneur understands that staying fresh and adapting your product to current demands is what keeps the hustle alive. And nobody did that better than Eddy. In the episode Over the Eds originally set to sell out some homemade energy drinks. Eddy, in a rush to speed up production, dumps way too much sugar into the mix, sending Double D into a full-on crash. Meanwhile, Ed, who hasn't showered and is stinking up the place, shows up and wrecks the setup. Eddy about to throw hands on him when Double D suddenly has an idea. Why not give Ed a makeover? And just like that, they pivot. The boys transform the filthy Ed into a clean-cut, smooth-talking, suave sensation, with Double D writing cool pickup lines and Eddy teaching him how to move like a star. They turn Ed into a living product. He gets a new look, a new persona, and becomes an overnight celebrity in the cul-de-sac. That's when Eddy sees the real opportunity, and it's genius. They turn Ed into a full-blown show, charging the other kids 25 cents just to watch him perform his new cool moves and lines. With no overhead costs and everything sourced from what they already had on hand, clothes, charisma, and a front yard, they created a live entertainment experience out of thin air. This wasn't just a scam, it was a rebrand and a live performance rollout all in one. It's like Eddy and Double D were leagues ahead of the game when it came to the idea of an industry plan. They took an unpolished asset and repackaged him into something the market couldn't get enough of. That's creativity, that's product development, that is a hustle. Of course, it all gets shut down when the Kanker sisters show up and expose Ed, ruining the act and stealing the attention, as they always do. And honestly, this might have just been commentary from the writers on as soon as you get some money, your girlfriend or your spouse will be there with her hand out. But still, the creativity behind the scheme stands strong. Eddy didn't need a new product, he reinvented someone. That takes vision, that's branding, and that's the hustle. Arguably, the most important entrepreneurial lesson Eddy teaches is persistence. No matter how many times his schemes blew up in his face, he never folded. He just resets, retools, and tries again. Most kids shows wrap up things up with classic lessons learned, but not Ed, and Eddy. Eddy doesn't learn to stop scheming, he learns to keep going. That kind of resilience is exactly what real-world hustlers and entrepreneurs need. Failure isn't the end, it's just feedback, baby. A prime example of this mindset is in the episode Too Smart for His Own Ed. Eddy places a bet against Kevin, claiming that Ed will win their school spelling bee, which included competitors like Rolf, Plank, and even Double D. At first, it's not even about Ed's skills. Eddy actually tells Double D to throw the match so Ed can win, but Double D refuses on moral grounds, unwilling to compromise his academic integrity. As the bee progresses, Rolf and Plank get eliminated, leaving Ed and Double D in the finals. Shockingly, Ed holds his own. He correctly spells ectoplasm, a word he probably knows from watching monster movies, which rattles Double D. Under pressure, an overconfident Double D ends up misspelling gravy, adding an unnecessary I. Ed, of all people, spells it right and wins the whole thing, one of his famous foods coming in the clutch. This sudden turn of events flips the entire social order. Ed becomes the new academic superstar, with even his sister Sarah asking him for help with her schoolwork. Eddy sees this opportunity and jumps on it. He turns Ed into a tutoring business, charging kids 25 cents per question, basically running the neighborhood version of Chegg. But of course, it all comes crashing down. The kids soon realize Ed's tutoring gave them all Fs, and they mob him and Eddy for a refund. This whole arc highlights Eddy's willingness to take risks, even when the odds are stacked against him. Betting on Ed in a spelling bee sounds ridiculous, but somehow it paid off. And as soon as the W happened, Eddy's entrepreneurial instinct kicked in, and he tried to flip the win into a profit. Sure, it flopped in the end, but the point is he dared to try. That kind of fearless experimentation and quick pivoting is what separates hustlers from dreamers. Success doesn't come from playing it safe. Eddy proves that even if you're betting on the underdog, taking a shot is better than standing still. In the world of business and in the cul-de-sac, you have to be willing to fail in order to win. Although, for all of Eddy's creativity and drive and hustle, his biggest downfall was always the same. He did not care about the customer. He was obsessed with getting paid, but once the money changed hands, quality went out the window. Whether it was turning Ed into a walking check without actual smarts, or his other other scams that ended in a refund, Eddy constantly burned his customer base, and every time they turned on him. But what he knew is that every time they would be back, and that's why this man never stopped. If Eddy existed today, he'd be the kid trying to drop ship designer items, resell sneakers, or post YouTube videos titled "How I Made 10K in 1 week, no cap." He was the embodiment of hustle culture before it even had a name. Bold, ambitious, always chasing the bag. But while his energy was unmatched, his downfall was always short-sightedness. He lacked a business mentor, someone who could channel that raw drive into something sustainable. If he had someone like Double D, but more a Shark Tank than Science Fair, he might actually have made it big. People clown Eddy because he was annoying, his scams were shady, and his plans always blew up. But looking back, he was onto something. Ed, and Eddy wasn't just a goofy cartoon, it was an unintentional masterclass in entrepreneurship. Eddy showed us the importance of creativity, resilience, and risk-taking. The lesson isn't to scam like Eddy, but to hustle smarter than he ever did. Thank you, House fan, for stopping by the channel. We here at the House of Animation are dedicated to bringing you guys the best content we can and put a lot of hard work into these videos. So it would mean a lot if you could mash the like and subscribe button and make sure to turn them alert and noties on to make sure you do not miss out on our videos. Also, make sure to drop a comment below to let us know if you agree with this breakdown or what else you would like us to explore on this channel. And well, with that, House fam, you already know what it is, baby. Gotta blast.